Okay. I don't share. I don't share like this. And the reason I don't is because I've honestly, for most of my life, I've been too damn busy to get on here and share with a bunch of people what I thought. Nor did I really put much weight behind it because I only thought that my decisions really affected those that I was most responsible to, mainly myself, my family, my wife, my sons, oh, my soon-to-be daughter that's on the way, uh, my immediate family nearby or an immediate family, and then the place that I worked, and the business that I worked in. But as of January 6th last month, I had to quit. I quit my job. Now I quit my job over the mask mandate because no, I'm not wearing a mask. And you can hate me all you damn want, man. I'm done wearing this mask. I complied for long enough, but there is no light at the end of the tunnel. I've been going over CDC website trying to find a reasonable goal for when we're going to roll back masks, and they can't tell us anything. I've contacted, I contacted my boss. And when I quit my job, I was forced to quit. So let me tell you a little story really quick. So January 6th, my boss brings me in for a meeting. He says, come over here. I'm managing the machine shop. I work in an open-aired machine shop. We roll up the doors. Most machines are well over 20 yards from one another. Very few people work in the same vicinity that you would worry about them actually giving any kind of viral spread. All right. This video is going to distract me. Get that off there. And so I told him, I was like, no, I'm not going to wear this mask. It's overcautious, and it's a control. You just think you can control this, but you can't. It's like, no, we're just following CDC guidelines. It's like, well, they're not really following CDC guidelines. They failed to do so very many times. I wonder if they're failing right now by not following the 2 mask mandate, because I'm pretty sure they aren't. Because I don't. There's so many people in that shop that I know are just like, no, it's BS. We're not going to wear it. We're not really going to wear it. But they say it to management's face that they'll wear the mask. But then as soon as their back's turned, they're taking the mask off. So it's like, so I wasn't going to lie to him. I was just going to say, hey man, no, I'm not going to wear this mask. We're wasting our time. It's not necessary. I'm sorry. I got to start pushing back at this. And he's like, okay, well, either you need to quit or you need to wear the mask. And and it was just like, because I'm not going to have this argument with you. I'm not going to have. This is not. I don't want to argue politics with you. I was like, no, we're not. We're not arguing politics. You're making me do something I don't want, and you're using politics as the bludgeoning tool to shut down the conversation. All right? It's not a matter of politics. You're asking me to do something I don't want to do. And instead of us having a discussion about it and letting me say my peace of mind, you're saying, oh, it's just a political argument and I don't want to talk about it. It's like, no, that's not what's happening here. It's definitely not my fault that this has become political. I'm just telling you I don't want to do it. And you're saying that because politics says I should, that it's a political argument and you're not going to have that argument with me. Everything is politics now. Nothing transcends it. Nothing like personal interrelationships can transcend politics. It's like, look, if you're going to ask me to do something, then have the balls to sit there and say that it's your decision. That's what was really irritating about it. Is like, is it a mandate if you won't fire me over it? Because I've told you I'm not going to do it. I wouldn't do it. But no, I had to quit. I don't know if that was a way to try to screw me over on unemployment. I don't know yet. We'll wait and see. Because I'm a month in, still not employed, but I have my own business I'm trying to get started. I'm trying like hell. I want to start my own business because I'm tired of this deferment of responsibility of making decisions to big government entities. It's funny is, I hear from the left political aisle a lot. It's like, look, you're making a sacrifice, and that's good. I agree. Sacrifices are good, making good decisions for others. I'm not against that at all. But you're not doing that. You're deferring responsibility to big government, big bureaucracy, and you're not actually making your own decision. So anyway, yes, I know masks work to prevent droplet spread. I get that. They do. I understand that. You know, but here's a problem. When does it end? When does it end? Now this is from last year, right in December of last year. So it hadn't been that long ago that epidemiologists were out there saying, look, I don't think this is ever going to roll back. We're not really going to, because one thing, there's more than one virus that spreads the same way that the coronavirus does. Now it's not as communicable quite as much. But bacterial infections spread this way. The cold spreads this way. Flu spreads this way. I mean, it's through droplet, aerosol. There are several methods in which these viruses transmit like this. So are these epidemiologists out here saying, hey, we need to keep these processes and procedures in place to protect us from all of these different viral spreads. So it doesn't end with just, us stopping COVID. I mean, some epidemiologists said their own risk aversion would decrease after they were vaccinated, but many said they would remain just as cautious until 80% or more of the entire population had received the vaccine. 80%. 80% has to. Well, the problem is, can we honestly say that we can vaccinate 275 million people? And that's just in the United States. Entire populace? Are they talking about the United States, or are they talking about the entire world? Because then you're talking about 6 billion people. Because, we do want global travel, right? We do, right? We want to have relationships with other global countries. We want goods going across borders, right? So, you got to wonder, when does it end? When does it end? But my question to that is, are we even thinking and talking about what happens with the suppression of our immune system? So your immune system gets weak when it's not used. You can get immune deficient by not being exposed to anything that necessitates your immune system to actually kick into gear. It's like working out. It's like getting a weight on you. It's all right, and you can go and you can work out and you can make incremental changes and do more weight and build up your muscles, and then you're able to combat against heavier weights. But if you stop going to the gym, you stop working out, you stop doing that exercise and that weight, and you go idle for 6 months, and your muscle atrophies. Well, the same thing happens with your immune system. It atrophies. And then 6 months later, when you open things back up, you go into the gym and you do your max, you probably got to drop it on your chest. Now I'm thinking bench. So, if you know what I'm talking about, bench. Drop that sucker on your chest. It'd be hard to breathe then, And so I'm wondering, are we, and it's another irritating point of contention I've had with some Trump supporters. It's like, look, because I had to tell Trump supporters, look, COVID is not the flu. It's not. It's not the same thing. All right. It acts a lot like the flu. Sure. Absolutely. And the fact that we have flu cases down, and they, a lot of people project, well, this COVID's just the flu. It's not, excuse me. It's not something different. It's the flu, and they're using it just to subvert power of the American people. No. People are legitimately scared of this virus, and they should be. I get it. Should be scared to live life, because life can be really detrimental to people. But anyway, so I worry all these, in this article here, that why are flu cases down during a massive pandemic? And in the article here, it talks about how more adults have gotten the flu shot than paramedics. Vaccine rates among certain groups, such as have seemed to have dropped off a bit. Even though flu activity is low, the other vaccination rates are strong, and the flu is out there and could surge at any moment. That's what I worry about. because it is. It's out there, and it could surge at any moment. And the same things, these unnatural processes that we put into place to suppress the spread of COVID-19 is also doing the same thing for the flu. Obviously, it's got to be doing the same for the flu. So, and through these unnatural processes, we're seeing variants start to come and emerge. We're starting to see genetic mutations happening with the virus in order to make it more communicable, even though we're doing all that we can to suppress the communication of this virus. Now, is that happening with the flu simultaneously? And the minute that we open all this up and go, hey, we're going to jump back in and take a dip into being social like we used to be, and then we're going to see the flu run rampant through us again. I mean, is this going to be the catalyst that actually starts another, what was it, Spanish flu? You know, is this the catalyst? Not COVID. COVID's not going to be. COVID's not a flu. It's more of like a cold variant, from what I understand. But does the flu come roaring back when we open things up, and instead of, having the immune capacity to hold that bar up and do a press with it, instead it comes crashing down on our lungs and our chest? I don't see anybody talking about that. I don't see anybody, asking about that. I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm not a scientist, but I've been following this for a long time. I spend a lot of time absorbing a lot of information. My wife will tell you I'm obsessed with it, and so I worry about that. And I don't see anybody really combating that. And I'm just looking at, what I've seen here recently. 2 prominent flu strains are hitting kids and the young particularly hard this season. Because you don't understand, COVID is really detrimental to the elderly. But the flu is, it's horrible on the young. On the young. So, what do we do about that? What happens then? Who do we blame for that? Right? Because that's it. That's what we do. It's the blame game. Look, I don't blame anybody for COVID. I don't blame the Chinese for COVID. It happens. It's a natural part of the human experience. We go through cycles of getting sick. That's unfortunate. It's been a common occurrence among all biological species ever since the first single-celled organisms started to grow into complex systems. All right? We're not going to suppress this in 2 weeks. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So when do we stop? When do we start thinking ahead? And I hate all that. That's a different subject. I won't get off on a tangent just yet. But, there's obviously a reason why we need to be concerned about the fact that we're suppressing our immune system, letting these non-biological variances or processes actually function in our society. I worry it's going to be the same thing like with the California forestry situation, in which they suppressed all of these natural fires that was happening, and all this dead wood just kept building up, and now the fires are so rampantly horrible that it's not just killing off the dead wood or burning off the dead wood, it's actually burning off the living forest. It's burning the topsoil off the ground, and it's creating deserts. That's how we lose our entire society. It's not the every now and then small unfortunate virus that runs rampant through our society. It's the fact that we suppress it until the point in which it erupts into something far more violent than we could even hope to control or suppress. So anyway, I quit my job. And I'm trying to get something going for myself. I've incorporated in the last month. I've been working with 3 banks and an investor. Uh, Putting together documentation, and I'm working with a few customers to help facilitate some work right now to get stuff done. Doing everything I can to get something started. That's not going to just be, you know, another cog in the machine. We're actually going to take responsibility. We're going to make decisions for ourselves. We're going to make work an integral part of the human experience, because that's what it is. You know, you work projecting out how the future is going to manifest itself. If you're not an opinionated person, if you're not worried about what's going to happen in the future, man, you're going to be a victim of it. Don't suppress that natural tendency of deferring responsibility to somebody else to tell you how things should work and manifest. Take responsibility. Do the right thing. Go to work. Go to work. It's important. Because you don't know what you're doing today that's going to be the catalyst that helps somebody with something really catastrophic in their life. That's what's so amazing about our system of this trade value that we do. It's so important. I couldn't believe when my son, you know, because I quit my job. And on top of that, I mean, I gave up a $75K plus a year job with bonuses, with sales commission for the work that I did, company vehicle. So I gave that up for nothing. And all this time, my wife's pregnant. And in October, my son broke his femur, snapped it. It was a birthday party. I'll tell a whole lot about what's going on with that. But anyway, but the bone broke in half and was overlaying one another. It was horrible. I mean, 7-year-olds should not ever have to feel that much pain. I cannot imagine what he was going through. I mean, I was dying inside, and I can't tell you how horrible it was when he looked at me and said, "Daddy, why did you let this happen?" And but it was amazing. You know, we got to the hospital. It took almost 8 hours from the time he broke his leg till he finally went into surgery. What they did, there's these flex nails now. I mean, I thought when he broke his femur, I was like, okay, he's going to be in a body cast from his torso down to his ankle, because it's the femur. That's the only way they can keep it stationary. They've got a, I can't, putting a 7-year-old in a nearly a full body cast, that idea was just horrible. And even thinking back, it's like, man, 100 years ago, I don't know what kind of life my son would ever have trying to recover from something like this. The amazing new technology of Western medicine is unreal. I had no idea. So they have these flex nails now, that's what they're called. And they actually drill into the bone. They drilled in above the growth plate, because he's 7, so he's still got a lot of growing to do. And they put these pieces of, I'm guessing titanium, I mean, it's a surgical steel, heavy duty, went inside the bone, in the hollow of the bone. There's 2 of them that went in there, and that's what they aligned it into. And they placed it and sewed him back up, and he was able to walk on it the next day. Now, he was scared to walk on it, so I mean, he walked with a walker. We took him out in more psychological trauma we had to overcome than anything right after that break. But he's since recovered from that. Now he's got to have those flex nails removed sometime in the upcoming month, and that's going to be another big expense out of pocket that I'm not sure how I'm going to manage, but we're going to figure it out. But anyway, you got to be thinking about the future. You can't just worry about what caused today. We work towards the future. Solving problems is what's that is intelligence. Without the need to solve problems, you don't need intelligence. You know, I seek these opportunities, man. Fixing problems. If we're not fixing problems, we're a stagnant society of boring. You know, so anyway, that's a little bit of my initial story in a nutshell. Y'all can help us out, man. I appreciate it.